Hello, everyone. Mr. Montalvo here. Today is Unit 4, Lesson 1, Day 4. Today, we're going to take a look at the focus on reforming the Articles of Confederation. Now, on Day 2 of this lesson, we discussed some of the shortcomings or weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation. So our objective for today is to examine how key issues were resolved during the Constitutional Convention, including state representation in Congress with the Great Compromise and a bicameral or two-body or two-house legislature. Now, in order to move forward, it's important to understand what were some of the ways that the Articles of Confederation could have been improved. In May of 1787, the delegates, also known as the framers of the Constitution, met in Philadelphia, originally to amend or to fix the Articles of Confederation. The meeting was to be known as the Constitutional Convention. The framers wanted a strong central government that did not give too much power to the common people. Now, why would the delegates of the convention want to limit the control of government by the common people? James Madison was the youngest man at the Constitutional Convention. Madison kept a full and clear record of the proceedings, and to this day, his records provide some of the most in-depth knowledge that we have of what happened at the Constitutional Convention. Benjamin Franklin, at the age of 81, was the oldest. The delegates at the Constitutional Convention were primarily wealthy landowners. So rather than revise the Articles of Confederation, the framers decided instead to write a brand new constitution for the nation. Edmund Randolph and James Madison, both from Virginia, made a proposal to the convention that would eventually become known as the Virginia Plan. Now, this plan called for a strong government, strong national government with three branches. Adopting this idea from the Virginia Constitution, state constitution that is, and the New York state constitution. Now, the legislative branch was charged with passing the laws or creating the laws. The executive branch carries out the laws or enforces the laws, and the judicial branch decides if the laws were carried out fairly. The Virginia Plan called for a bicameral or a two-house or two-body legislature. Seats to each house would be awarded based on the population of the individual state. So the larger the state population, the more representatives your state had in both houses. This would be known as propositional, or rather proportional representation. Now, how were the seats awarded under the Articles of Confederation? If you remember, it was one state, one vote. Now, small states, of course, objected strongly to the Virginia Plan. They wouldn't receive as many delegates. After 2 weeks of debate, William Paterson of New Jersey presented the New Jersey Plan. Under the New Jersey Plan, it called for equal representation. The legislature, which would be unicameral or one body. Each state, no matter the size of the population, would have only one vote in the legislature. Now, why would smaller states not find proportional representation favorable? So, taking a look at the Virginia Plan, larger states, population-wise, would get more representatives. Now, this didn't settle well with the smaller states. The New Jersey Plan hoped to equal the playing field so that no matter how large or how small your population, every state had the same amount of representation. Now, a delegate named Roger Sherman of Connecticut worked out a compromise between the large states and the smaller states, compromise being an agreement. Sherman's Connecticut plan called for a legislature of 2 houses. The lower house was known as the House of Representatives. which would have representatives based on the state's population. Members of the upper house, known as the Senate, would have 2 senators per state, no matter the population of that state. Now, there is an activity linked to today that will help better understand this, but think to yourself for right now, how was Sherman's compromise a fair way to structure the legislature or the lawmaking body? On July 16th, the delegates approved the plan. The agreement to have 2 legislatures, one with an equal number of votes for each state, and one by population, which would become known as the Great Compromise. A significant compromise reached at the Constitutional Convention of 1787 was the agreement to establish, as we discussed, a bicameral or 2-body legislature, which addressed the issues of population differences among the different states. Now, linked below, you'll see this document, this analysis of Article 1 of the US Constitution. First, just sourcing the document, and then taking a look at how is representation in the House of Representatives and the Senate determined, the difference between the two. In addition to that, in that same document, you'll find a comparison of the Virginia, New Jersey, and Connecticut plan, understanding how the legislature was made up according to each plan and how representation was determined. Was representation equal, or was representation proportional, or was it a combination of both? Now, each plan has a different answer to that. So just in closing for today, think about how did the Great Compromise solve the issue over representation and population among the states at the Constitutional Convention. Now, that's it for today. Take care. See you soon.